बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि।
नमो बुद्धाय, नमो धम्माय, नमो संघाय। उपासका उपासिकाएं सभी को ये बुद्ध पूर्णिमा का अवसर पर, वैशाख पूर्णिमा बुद्ध जयंती का इस अवसर पर मैं सभी लोग सुखी रहे, आरोग्य रहे बोल के त्रिरत्न को प्रार्थना करता हूँ। इस समय सारा दुनिया एक बहुत मुश्किल का समय में गुजर रहा है, तो ये जो समय में हम लोग बुद्ध धम्म संघ को और भी ज़्यादा याद करना और भगवान बुद्ध के बताए हुए मार्ग को अपनाना बहुत ज़रूरी है। अभी हम लोग इस कोरोना के समय कोई ना कोई बहुत प्यारे लोग गुजर जाने का या तकलीफ़ उठाने के बारे में हम लोग सुनते हैं, तो ये तो हमारा अंदर एक ज्ञान को जगाना है कि ये जो लाइफ जो है, हमारा जीवन जो है कितना अशाश्वत है, कभी भी कुछ भी हो सकता है। तो जितना दिन है हम लोग, आइए हम लोग शील समाधि प्रज्ञा का इस सन्मार्ग में, भगवान बुद्ध के बताए हुए सन्मार्ग में हम लोग चलेंगे। ये बुद्ध जयंती को हम लोग बहुत अच्छा से मनाएंगे, अपने आप को शील समाधि प्रज्ञा में बढ़ाते हुए और करुणा से जितना होगा उतना, चाहे कोरोना का जो दुखियारे हैं उनको सेवा में या दूसरा कोई ना कोई सेवा में हम लोग अपने आप को लगा के बुद्ध पूर्णिमा को, ये बुद्ध जयंती को एक अर्थपूर्ण बुद्ध जयंती मनाएंगे। नमो तस् भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा संबुद्धस्स। नमो तस् भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा संबुद्धस्स। नमो तस् भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा संबुद्धस्स। बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि, धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि, संघं शरणं गच्छामि। Salutations to the Supremely Enlightened One, the Samyak Sambuddha. Salutations to the noble path of enlightenment, the Dhamma, the Saddhamma, and salutations to the Holy Sangha. And I pay my humble salutations at the holy feet of our Guruji, Most Venerable Acharya Buddharakita Bade Bante Ji, and I pay humble salutations at our abbot and chief monk and teacher, Most Venerable Kassapa Bhante Ji, and all the Sangha. I give all the venerable monks, upasakas, upasikas, all children, very, very hearty greetings on the auspicious occasion of Vaisakha, the sacred Buddha Jayanti, which we are all celebrating on 26th of May. Every year, this Vaisakha Purnima, which comes as a reminder of the supremely enlightened Buddhas, that immaculate enlightenment, as a reminder of the birth of the Savior and the real teacher for the universe. This is the reminder for the spread of compassion and love, and the message that the love alone triumphs and no other ways of violence or pettiness is going to help our world. So this is the reminding day, special day. But more than that, the enlightenment day of the Buddha Jayanti. Jayanti is victory, the Buddha's victory, the victory over everything and the mastery over everything. So that gives us the real hope, the real blessing that we all can achieve enlightenment. We all can be free from all sufferings and complications, all bondages. So this is not an ordinary day, ordinary time when we are celebrating the Buddha Jayanti, Vaisakha Purnima day. It is a great event, great occasion for us to contemplate deeply. This Vaisakha Purnima day is triple sacred, triple blessed day, because on this day our Supreme Buddha was born as Bodhisattva Siddhartha. You see, the birth of a Bodhisattva in his last life to become destined to become supremely enlightened Buddha is not an ordinary birth. When we see in the our normal life situations, there are really great babies who are born and who are able to speak or remember and behave in a certain ways. Now just imagine the person who has fulfilled the 10 paramitas 3 times over at the Paramatha Parami level, then just you can imagine what the power of that person is. And when that person was born in the peaceful surroundings of the Lumbini Buddha Vihar, Lumbini Gardens in the present day Nepal, that was an event in itself. Amazing things happened, and these things are recorded in the Holy Tripitaka, in the Majjhima Nikaya, in the sutta called Acharya Abhuta Sutta. Acharya means Ascharya, Adbhuta Sutta. The birth of the Buddha itself contained certain great, very miraculous things and wonders. For us it looks wonder, but as the law of nature and the norm of the Dhamma, that is the normal. That when the Bodhisattva was born, he took 7 steps. He walked 7 steps, and everywhere, at every step, lotus appeared. Now these 7 steps signified that the Buddha is going to become enlightened Buddha, and he is going to spread this message into 7 countries, you can say, during those days, the major 7 countries, or the 7 continents, or the 7 oceans and beyond everything. So this is the significance. Such is the teacher who was born and walked in the very first instance and declared to the world, I am the supreme and I am the greatest. I am going to be the highest, and this is my last birth. There will not be any more of this becoming again. Now just at the birth, if somebody can say that, it is because the mindfulness, the awareness is very clear. It is very bright, and the mind is in full awareness. In that Acharya Bhuta Sutta, it says how, as Setaketu, Bodhisattva was Setaketu Devaraja in Tushita, how mindfully he passed away, and how mindfully he was born in the womb of great Mother Mahamaya Devi Ji, and how he was mindful throughout. And when he was born, it is nothing not to be really doubting that he is not able to be mindful. So with mindfulness, he declared, this is going to be my last birth. So that was the birth on this full moon day in Lumbini Gardens. What a wonderful. That was 623 BC. Now, if we count, we are celebrating 2565th sacred Buddha Jayanti, and this Buddhist era, Buddhist calendar is counted from Lord Buddha's Mahaparinibbana. And if you want to know the year of his birth, then you have to add 80 years to this number, and you get the number of his birth, that is 623 BC. Now, when this being, the great being, Bodhisattva, the enlightenment being, that means one who is going to be Samma Sambuddha, surely his life was blessed with all the good things. If you see the life of the Supreme Buddha, there is not an iota of something unpleasant, something lacking, some violence, fighting, or any of such thing. This was the life of plentifulness. Everything was plenty. Everything was peaceful. Everything was perfect. Whatever you can imagine as perfect, that was the life of the Supreme Buddha. Even before becoming Buddha, as life of Bodhisattva. Now, this is the day of the arising of the Supremely Enlightened One, Samyak Sambuddha. At the age of 35, having lived for 29 years as household life, and in the 29th year he renounced the world in search of truth, in search of ending, in the search of finding the end of all sufferings. So, when he left at the age of 29, he was determined that he is surely going to get the solution. And for 6 long years, he made all kinds of practices, not one or two, all the existing prevailing practices that were considered as the path of enlightenment, all that he has practiced to their end, to their hilt, but for no result. He was torturing the body. He was practicing extremities, because these extreme practices of torturing and giving pain to the body were considered as path to liberation, path to ending karma. The stock of karma have to be removed, so you just give pain to the body and then they will be removed. That was the belief, and that's how many teachers were practicing. And that Bodhisattva did it for 6 years, and he did it to the total extreme, to the extent that if he had taken another one step, then he would have died. He went to the very edge of death, and then he saw that that is for no good, and then he renounced it. He said that is not the path to enlightenment, and then he decided, let me discover my own way. All the prevailing ways have led to nowhere. So he said, I will discover. So on this Vaishakha Purnima day, before this day broke, the earlier night he saw a beautiful dream. And in this dream he saw 5 signs. In one of the one of the first dream was that he is sleeping over this entire Jambudvipa, that means entire Indian subcontinent, with the Himalayas as the pillow, and his both arms are touching the oceans on the both sides, east and west, and the legs touching the southern ocean. That was the first. And then he saw another dream that one grass started growing from his navel, and it just went into the infinite space. And the third one, he saw that there were many ants which were coming and crawling on his feet with black heads. And the fourth dream he saw was from 4 directions, 4 different colored birds, yellow and blue and red and green. These birds flew from 4 different directions, and as soon as they touched on his lap, they all turned into white and became all one. And then he saw another dream that he was walking on a mountain, the mountain of dung, all rubbish. Though he was walking up and down, he was not touched by that dirt or soil. He was pure. So the next day when he woke up, he was very joyful, and he remembered these dreams and tried to interpret, and then he understood, oh, I am going to become enlightened Buddha, and when I become enlightened Buddha, I am going to teach to this entire Jambudvipa. And then he saw this Turiya grass that is growing from his navel and rising to the infinite space. Then he saw that he himself is going to attain enlightenment and experience the ultimate Nibbanic bliss. And so many people are going to follow the Noble Eightfold Path, and they are also going to experience this Nibbanic bliss, infinite peace, infinite happiness, and infinite wisdom and compassion. And then he interpreted the third one, that so many ants with black heads coming and crawling on his feet. He saw that there are lot of lay people will come to him, and they will become his disciples, upasakas and upasikas, and they will start learning the Dhamma and practicing the Dhamma. And then he saw this, he interpreted this bird's dream. The 4 colored dream, 4 colored birds represented different castes, different religions, and the supreme, the Bodhisattva, not yet enlightened Buddha now. The Bodhisattva saw that once he starts teaching the Dhamma, people from all castes and communities and everybody will come, and once they come to his Dhamma, they all become one. No distinction, discrimination or anything. So they become one. And then the last one, he interpreted that mountain, walking on the mountain of the dung. That means the Supreme Buddha, after he becomes enlightened Buddha, he will be teaching Dhamma in the world. And this Dhamma, and while teaching this Dhamma, he will encounter so many kinds of people, people with love, people with hatred, people with greed and jealousy, and people who will try to harm and find faults and discredit, and people with ignorance and wrong views, and all kinds of people. The whole rubbish will be there, but the Buddha will remain untouched. those who praise or blame or do good or bad or anything, he will remain untouched. So that was the interpretation of this dream, and these 5 dreams are mentioned. The Supreme Buddha, after his enlightenment, he tells this in Mahasupina Sutta. Mahasupina is great dreams. Swapna, Mahaswapna, Mahasupina Sutta. So dear Upasakas and Upasikas, this is what we have to understand. To celebrate the Buddha Purnima, Buddha Jayanti, Vaishakha means to understand our own teacher, the Supreme Buddha. So then that day, morning he got up and got fresh, and then he was sitting under this one banyan tree which was worshipped every year by Sujata Mataji. She used to bring in golden bowl very nicely prepared kheer, and that preparation itself she took such great effort, and especially for she had made some vow and she got her son some 20 years earlier. So she used to come every year and offer this kheer to this tree, thinking that this tree has a divine being there, the Vriksha Devata. And because of Vriksha Devata's blessing, she got son. So now it was about 20 years now, and she brought this kheer with lot of devotion. Preparing from that itself is another big, beautiful story, how she fed 1,000 cows with best of the grass, took the milk and she fed 500 cows, and from 500 she took milk and fed 250. Like that she reduced the number, and at the end 8 cows she fed and took that very thick milk, and she prepared with most fragrant rice this kheer, and in a golden bowl. She was a very rich person, and she brought this golden bowl and she offered it to the Bodhisattva. She was even more happy because every time she offered to the empty tree, but this time she saw that the shining, bright, illuminating person is sitting so peacefully under this banyan tree, and she offered, and she said, "Oh, I made a wish and I got my wish fulfilled. If you have any wish, your wish be fulfilled. This I offer to you." So she offered. So the Bodhisattva took that kheer and blessed her, and then he walks to Niranjana river. All this is happening in Buddha Gaya area, what we call now Buddha Gaya or Bodh Gaya. So Niranjana river, and there he took bath, and then he sat and he ate that kheer, which was thick paisa, making 49 morsels. These 49 morsels also signify this certain number, because for 49 days he is not going to eat. So he made 49 and he ate everything, and he made a determination, if I am going to be enlightened today, now I am going to throw this golden bowl, pure golden bowl. But for Bodhisattva it was nothing. He made a determination, I am going to throw this golden bowl in this Niranjana river, and if I am going to be enlightened, let it flow upstream, not downstream. All the things normally flow downstream. And when he threw it, the bowl indeed, it started floating upstream, and then it sunk in the water. So that gave very good indication for good feeling and confidence. And then this afternoon he spent around that peaceful place, and then he thought, well, now I am going to find a place and I will sit and meditate. So then he walked towards what we call now the sacred Bodhi, Mahabodhi tree. Sautya was carrying the grass, a bundle of grass, and he just put it down, and he took 8 smaller bundles of grass and offered. So much of saddha he got. And Bodhisattva took and he came to this very magnificent tree, Mahabodhi tree, and there he wanted to sit. The moment he stood in the facing in south, it was unstable. Then he tried in the west, facing west. Again it was unstable. Then he tried in the northern direction. He faced in the north and tried to settle down there, but that was also unstable. But when he put that grass in the eastern side and he sat facing eastern side, it was stable. And then he sat there, so it was almost getting like evening time, and then there he sat, and he was full of joy, peace, and determination. Now when he started his meditation there, Mara means, it is one of the very powerful devas of Paranimita Vasavati Deva. There are different planes of existence. So this Deva, very powerful Deva, he wanted to disturb, he wanted to, his illusion was that he is the controller and everybody should be under his control and nobody should go beyond him. So he knew that this person is so determined. So there takes place what we call Mara Yuddha. And this Mara Yuddha was ferocious that anybody can even imagine. But by the power of Dasaparami, we tell in Jayamangala Gatha, no? Jayamangala Attagatha, Bahung Sahassam Abhinimmita Sayudhantang Girime Khalang Udita Ghora Sasena Marang. With 1,000 hands and 1,000 weapons sitting on the elephant Girimekhala, this Mara made an attack on the Bodhisattva. Dhanadi Dhamma Vidina Jitava Munindo. Dana Adi. Dana means Dana. Adi means the other paramitas. Dana Parami, Sila Parami, Nekkhamma Parami, Panya Parami, Satya, Khanti, Virya, Adhitthana, Metta and Upekha. Oh, these parami, by the power of these paramis, he overcame. That Mara could not do anything. All these weapons and everything, they just became flowers. So Mara, then this Mara asked, what is the proof that you are going to get enlightenment, and what is the proof that you have fulfilled this 10 paramis? Then our Supreme Buddha touched his fingers to the earth and said, this earth is the witness for my fulfillment of 10 paramis. Then the whole world shook and Mara just bolted away. Then everything got very peaceful. It was very peaceful evening, and then Bodhisattva made a determination, a very special determination, that he said, I am going to sit here and meditate. Let my flesh dry up, my blood dry up, my bones reduced to dust, but till I attain full enlightenment, I am not going to move from this place. Oh, what a adhitthana. What kind of adhitthana it is. So he sat in meditation, and then he went into the jhanas. Jhanas are stages of concentration, calmness and clarity. And with this clear mind, with this fourth jhana, clear mind, in the first watch of the night, that is from 6 to 10 p.m., he recollected his lives, previous lives, 100 lives, 1,000 lives, lakhs and koti, formation of world systems and destruction of world systems. All these things became so clear. He just saw it. So in that he saw, how causes and conditions, what kind of causes brings what kind of effect. And then from 10 to 2 o'clock in the middle watch of the night, he focused his mind with his Dibba Chakhu on others. How others are born and dying, why they were born, because for what reasons they were like this, why they are born like this, why they are feeling like this, their previous life, like that, infinite number of people and living beings, infinite number of their previous lives, causes and conditions. The law of cause and effect became so clear to him. That's how he realized by his own experience. He could see with anger, if you do something, what is the result? With compassion, if you do something, what is the result? The law of cause and effect, kamma and vipaka, and the entire universe, the planes of existence, the entire universe he was able to see. Now in the third watch of the night, that is 2 to 6 o'clock, during this time he turned. Now he understood this entire world, entire material world, entire mental world, mind, body, all kinds of beings, birth, death, everything was clear to him. Now he focused what is the truth behind that. What are the causes? So he saw the four noble truths. It is called Asavakkaya Jnana. So he developed four noble truths, the wisdom of four noble truths. Then he attained to the stages of enlightenment, Sotapanna, Sagadagami, Anagami and Arhanthood. So by the time 6 o'clock, when the sun was rising and the full moon was setting, that was the moment. At that very special positioning, sunrise and moon set, at that moment he became fully enlightened Buddha, supremely enlightened, Samyak Sambuddha, Arhanta, Samma Sambuddha, Vijjacharana Sampanna, all these things. So this is the enlightenment. And with that enlightenment he got immense power of the Supreme Buddha. And this power is very special jnanas. The Buddha is very special because he can see the beings, what are the defilements in them, what are the paramis, punya in them, so that he can advise. His compassion was so great. With the arising of the Samyak Sambuddha, three things we can contemplate as the Buddha, what he signifies. Itipiso Bhagava Arhang. Arhang is purity. Most perfect purity, state of purity he attained. All defilements gone. All noble qualities fulfilled. Samma Sambuddha, that is wisdom. He discovered the enlightenment to Sambodhi fully, completely by himself in the right way. Samma Sambuddha. That is the very culmination of enlightenment, culmination of wisdom. So when we remember our Supreme Buddha, we can remember Bhagwan as purest one, wisest one, and Vijjacharana Sampanna, the expression of this wisdom and this everything through compassion, the most compassionate one. So his compassion was so great that he had this Mahakaruna Samapatti ability to scan the entire universe every day and find out who are all the people and beings whom he can help. That's Buddha's. And Anavarana. Whatever he focused, whatever on living beings or non-living things, everything will just Anavarana, open up. That is the knowledge, that is the knowing capacity, faculty of Supreme Buddha. And then he had another jnana of absolute mastery over mind and matter both, all the four elements, earth, water, fire and air elements. And then Sabbanyuta, to know everything, including Nibbana. So that was the enlightenment of the enlightened Buddha. It is not that somebody gave and said Tatastu, or somebody's light shone into his face, or not like that. That was the culmination of the hard work of 4 Asankhya Kalpa and 1 lakh Kalpas of fulfilling the 10 paramis to their perfection. That was the culmination of the great determination and the aspiration made at the holy feet of Dipankara Buddha, that may I also become one day the supremely enlightened Buddha, Samyak Sambuddha. So that was the enlightenment of our great master. These are not cock and bull stories or something like that. These are real experiences of life. These are real experiences of anybody who practices and actually tastes. So then for 45 years he gave teachings out of compassion. Only wisdom, 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 love and compassion was flowing from his heart for 45 years, every day resting only 2 hours. 22 hours of hard work. Nobody in the history of humankind has ever done this kind of mission, a mission of compassion, mission of liberation, mission of helping the suffering people, giving every solution for every kind of problem. So that was the greatest mission of enlightenment. He gave enlightenment to all his relatives. They became all enlightened. What to talk of other people, lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of monks and nuns and lay people. And that's how after 45 years, again on this full moon day of Vaisakha, in the serene grove, Sala Grove in Kushinagara, putting his head towards the north, lying in that between 2 Sala trees, till the last moment he was teaching, and Subhadra, the last person to come and listen to the Buddha and transform. And then he said, okay, now I am going. May you all strive with wisdom. May you all strive with wisdom and find your liberation, enlightenment. Those were the last words. Vayadhamma sankhara appamadena sampadetha. And peacefully he went into meditation, jhanas after jhanas, 8 jhanas and Nirodha Samapatti, and back to 1 and 1 to 4th jhana. In this peaceful state of 4th jhana, he attained Mahaparinibbana. Samyak Sambuddha's attainment is called Mahaparinibbana. So this on Vaisakha full moon day, imagine. So unbelievable. So his compassion was so great, he went to Kapilavastu also again on Vaisakha full moon day next year. He went and then he taught all his family members so many things. So in these days, my dear Upasakas, Upasikas and everybody, the Buddha, supremely enlightened Buddha is for all of us. Religion, country, language, caste, creed and this and that, all these have no meanings, absolute meaningless. In the eyes of the Buddha, there exists suffering and there exists happiness. And from this suffering point to happiness point, the Buddha leads us. That's all. If you are a human being or a bird or a dog or a deva or a brahma or any kind of living being with any kind of mind, any kind of belief, any kind of practice, all those things don't matter. What matters is how much suffering you have, ignorance you have, greed, anger, these things. How to remove and bring to happiness. So in these days of COVID, we are seeing the suffering with more direct experience. One or the other relative or friend is passing away, and the stark reality of suffering is coming nearer and nearer to us. And this is the time that we remember the Four Noble Truths, why the Supreme Buddha taught these Four Noble Truths, and understand, oh, in this time we have to be calm. We have to understand deeply the nature of life, how old age, sickness and death are all the time bouncing on our peaceful life. So this is going to happen. So understand these realities, old age and sickness and death, which the Bodhisattva had understood very deeply before his renunciation. And that's why he went in search of the solution for that. And the solution is the Noble Eightfold Path. Fourth Noble Truth: develop right understanding, right thinking. Now the thoughts of compassion and love are more required than ever because of this pandemic. And you can see there are a lot of wars and terrorist attacks and this and that, and caste attacks and religion attacks and economic attacks and bio attacks. Oh, attacks after attacks. That is the world. That is the nature of the world. As long as this greed and hatred, jealousy and ego and egotism and arrogance exists, so long we have to expect this kind of thing. So my dears, on the occasion of this COVID, full moon day, Vaisakha days, these are all days are Vaisakha Masa. I wish everybody all the best. Now let us do as much as possible service to remove. So in Mahabodhi Society Bengaluru, in Mahabodhi Buddha Vihara, we have taken up relief work. We started a 50-bed hospital for COVID, and people are getting a lot of benefits, and lot of people, great venerable monks and lot of people have helped us to put up. Nothing was there. Within 15 days we put up this hospital, and then it is being supported with ventilators and oxygen concentrators. And I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to Mr. Harshadip Kambleji, who actually requested for this Dhamma talk, and who is coordinating for offering an ambulance to this our True Life Mahabodhi Hospital in Bangalore. So we are very, very grateful to all of you, and we are also giving a lot of relief materials in the villages and in the cities, especially for daily laborers. May this compassion that the Buddha has taught, let us put that compassion in action. Our Bade Bante Acharya Buddha Rakita's motto, he always said compassion in action. In the heart is okay, but it has to come in action. That's why in Mahabodhi Vihara we have this monastic training, preparing monks and the schools or college or hospitals. All these on one side humanitarian activities, but the Dhamma teaching day after day, week after week, every day Dhamma teaching, Dhamma Dana program is going on. So we also did last night, yesterday, whole night long chanting. May all the merits of this noble, wholesome karma, kusala karma, all the merits and result come to all people in the world who are suffering from pandemic, all people who are suffering different diseases or poverty or problems, mental problems, all kinds of sickness, may they be free from all sickness. All people grow in understanding and wisdom, and may all the merits conduce to Harshadip Kambleji, Ratnadeep Kambleji, and all your team, wonderful team that is doing so much of Dhamma work. All of you and your families, may they be happy and healthy. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanu bhavena sada suthi bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanu bhavena sada suthi bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba sanghanu bhavena sada suthi bhavantu te. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Buddhang saranang gacchami